So welcome back to another one, you guys. If you are new to the channel, my name is Andrew with Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on our inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so today we're in the brand new 2026 Toyota CHR, because if you guys remember, the CHR was a thing back from 2018 to 2022. It was a gas-powered car. It's now come back as an EV. It shares the same platform as the BZ, and they look pretty darn similar, if I gotta be honest. All-wheel drive does come standard, in case you were curious. The electrical component warranty comes in at 8 years or 100,000 miles. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there are essentially two different trim levels for the Toyota CHR. You got the SE starting at $37,000 even, and then you got the XSE, which is the one we are in today. This one starts at $39,000 even. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant is going to be the same. Powering the CHR are going to be dual electric motors, puts out a combined 338 horsepower, power sent to all four wheels. All-wheel drive does come standard, like I said. The 0 to 60 time, according to Toyota, 4.9 seconds. That's plenty respectable. We'll be testing that out here after we get out of this traffic jam, of course. But the range is going to come in at 287 miles for the SE, 273 miles for the XSE. 10 to 80% charge can be had in 30 minutes on a fast charger. However, a level 2 charger is going to take from 10 to 100% charge in approximately 7 hours, which is perfectly fine. That means you just charge it overnight while you're sleeping. Although in the back of my head, every time I drive an EV here living in the US, I always think to myself, dang, I wish we had some of that technology from China that charged it to 100% in like 5 minutes. And I'm sure it'll come at some point, but that's just wild. Anyways, before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the BZ, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. And so drive modes are located just to the right of this shifter here, and that's going to include Eco, Normal, and Snow, adjusting things like the throttle response and the steering sensitivity, actually. And so as far as the shifter goes, if you're not familiar with Toyota EVs, you essentially press down and to the right to put it in drive, down and to the left to put it in reverse, and then press in for neutral, and then the P button is going to be your park. So that's located just in front of it there. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's get out of this traffic jam here. Let's find a straightaway, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2026 Toyota CHR here up to speed. All right, found our straightaway here in 3, 2, 1. I love that. That's plenty. That's plenty emerging onto the highway. The cool thing about electric cars is it's instant power every single time, so definitely pins you in the back of your seat, so that's plenty fun. There's nothing wrong with that acceleration whatsoever. I liked that. But perhaps the coolest thing about this car is not the acceleration, but the braking. So let's get into the braking a little bit here. Up front, you will find 12.9-inch ventilated front discs, if I could talk. In the back, 12.5-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at 124 feet, which is pretty on par for the course. There's nothing wrong with that number whatsoever. But the cool thing about the braking is you never really have to use the brakes because of regenerative braking. So with the Toyota CHR, there's 4 different levels of regenerative braking, and you adjust them using the paddle shifter. So if you want less of that, you basically tap the right paddle shifter. If you want more of that regenerative braking, you tap the left paddle shifter. So I tapped it 4 times on the left. And by the way, that's going to display up on the gauge is what level of regenerative braking that you're in. So that's going to be right next to the D. I don't know if you guys can see that through the GoPro or not, but that's how that works. And so the way it works is essentially if I were to take my foot off the gas, as I'm about to do here, this is going to be a good example, it's going to bring me down to around 2 to 3 miles per hour without me having to hit the brakes. So almost a complete stop. 0. It actually came down to 0. I'm a little bit going uphill here. So it basically brings you to a complete stop, although I don't think it's supposed to necessarily, but that's pretty cool. That's going to save you on brake pads. I'm a massive fan of that. So well done, Toyota, on the braking on this thing. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front, you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. And in case anybody was curious, when it comes to ground clearance, that comes in at even 8 inches. So there's nothing wrong with that. Overall, as far as ride quality goes, it's actually been pretty darn good in my short little test drive here today. I'm still sitting in a ton of traffic. This is a super annoying test drive, let me tell you. There's so much traffic today. I don't even know why, but ride quality's been 100% on point. As far as steering feel goes, it's okay. Toyota traditionally kind of weighs their steering on the looser side of things, so wouldn't have minded a bit heavier of a feel, kind of like Toyota. Look at Tesla Model Y. That's the benchmark there. They have such a nice steering feel to that thing. That's what I want this to feel like. So anyways, it's not bad. It's pretty much like any SUV that you would expect there. Then touching on cabin noise, this has been a pretty serene cabin. Now, I'm only going 12 miles per hour right now, but when I was going faster, it's a pretty darn serene cabin, as is the case with most SUVs that I drive, so definitely should not have any issues there. And taking a look at rear visibility, I didn't know what I was going to think of this one, but honestly, I can see perfectly fine out the back. So looking out my rear view mirror right now, it's perfectly fine. Like, I got no issues with that whatsoever. And here, actually, let me take off the GoPro real quick, and I'll show you guys. There's rear visibility. I don't know if you guys could see that or not, but that's the way rear visibility looks. It looks pretty darn good. I'll probably just do B-roll, but anyways, I like it. That pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior now of our brand new 2026 Toyota CHR. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Toyota CHR, finished in wind chill pearl. In case you were curious of our exact exterior color name that we had on this one with us here today. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the CHR is made, taking a look at the VIN. First character is the letter J, indicating that this one is built and assembled in Japan, as it should be. But starting up front, you got that hammerhead hood design, and that's kind of like the BZ as well, of course. To the sides, full LED projector headlights do come standard, so meaning both low beam and high beam are LEDs. Get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. And again, this looks pretty darn similar to the BZ. Like, it's almost, you almost can't tell when you walk onto a Toyota lot the difference between the two until you get to the taillights. That's how I'm able to tell, at least. But still looks good nonetheless. I think this is a dang good looking front end, but that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so but now since we are around to the side of this one, first thing I wanted to mention is there is an optional gloss black A-pillar, B-pillar, C-pillar, and roof available if you wanted to go that route. Gloss black power adjustable side mirrors do come standard. They will come with integrated turn signals then as well. You also get the reverse gear tilt down feature, actually. Then also, just like the previous CHR, the rear door handles are incorporated into the upper portion of the door, and they're going to be finished in gloss black, so kind of hidden. It's kind of a cool look there. And then take a look down at the wheel setup. 18-inch black alloys for the SE trim level, and then 20-inch gunmetal multi-spoke alloys like you guys are looking at right now for the XSE, and that is the trim we have today, in case I didn't say that already. So that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, starting all the way to the top, you got a gloss black shark fin antenna. Also have a kind of unique rear spoiler in the upper portion of that glass. I think that looks pretty good. You also have a gloss black rear spoiler. I'll get up a little bit closer so you guys can see it, with an integrated brake light into it. So that's there as well. A really unique looking LED taillight design. So that's how I tell the difference between this and the BZ, is those taillights. They look pretty darn good. And they come out a pretty darn good bit on the side of the car too. So I thought that was an interesting design there. But anyways, do have a little bit of trim level badging found in the back as well. And then typically I'll do an exhaust clip at this portion of the review, but it's an EV, so I'm not going to be doing that obviously. So let's go ahead now and make our way to the interior of the CHR. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the CHR, when it comes to opening that rear lift gate, a power lift gate actually does come standard on this thing. So you got to appreciate that. There is a button on the key fob, of course, a button on the lift gate itself then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity behind that second row comes in at 38.6 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down. It's going to bump that up to 55 cubic feet then. There actually is a 120 volt power outlet I found back there. There's grocery bag hooks on both sides in the cargo area. I was a big fan of that. You got LED cargo lighting back there as well. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, we'll find a little bit of in-floor storage in case you were looking for that. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 32.2 inches. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the back there. And again, the way you open the rear doors is through the black portion on the upper portion of the doors. So kind of the hidden way like they did before. But rear center armrest with cup holders does come standard. Rear ventilation coming standard. Dual rear USB charging ports coming standard as well. And then if you wanted heated rear seats like we have with us here today, that goes for $450. So that's kind of cool if you wanted to spoil the rear passengers. And so then making our way up to the front seats, 8-way power adjustable driver seat with power lumbar coming standard. They will be heated as well. You're going to get a fabric Softex combination for the SE, and then a synthetic suede Softex combination for the XSE. I love the synthetic suede. I think that's such a cool feel. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was plenty fine in my short little test drive here today. And again, big fan of the suede seats. I've had suede seats in my cars before and they've always been amazing. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is going to be leather wrapped as well, and it's actually heated. That comes standard as well, so definitely a big fan of that. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. Pretty basic Toyota key. You got your Toyota logo on the bottom, lock, unlock, and the button to pop the rear lift gate, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that matte black engine start button located kind of by the driver's right knee there. And so once started up, 7-inch LCD gauge cluster. It looks good, but the steering wheel kind of blocks it when you're driving. That's the only downside of this, just like the Volkswagen ID4. But anyways, it does look good. You got your digital gauge set up, your outside temperature, the range that you got left. It says 48 miles for us, 17% battery life. So it's plenty fine. It's just, it is blocked slightly with the steering wheel. That's the only drawback. So I don't know. Maybe a head-up display would fix that, Toyota, if you were thinking about possibly doing that. But anyways, let's now go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A panoramic roof does go for $1,000. We don't have that option with this here today, unfortunately. LED interior lighting does come standard. You get 2 wireless phone chargers, so one for the driver here, one for the passenger. I thought that was pretty cool. You have 64 colors of ambient lighting, and auto dimming rear view mirror with HomeLink controls. HomeLink controls, by the way, are for the XSE only. Auto dimming rear view mirror does come standard of both trims though, but HomeLink controls are located just underneath of the rear view mirror there, so that's pretty nice. Also dual zone climate control, so both driver and passenger can set their own individual temperatures there as well. Also, you got a nice little bit of hidden storage just underneath of the wireless phone chargers, so I thought that was pretty cool to mention. There's also a 12-volt power outlet down there, USB charging port too. Just behind all of that stuff, you got your dual cup holders, and then within the center armrest here, it's actually a decent amount of space in there. So yeah, I don't have any issues with that. Also do like the texturized finish found just above the passenger side glove box that continues just behind the infotainment screen. So basically all on the dash there. I like that. But overall, there are a lot of matte black finishes, including the door handles, for example, all around the shift buttons here, surrounding the cup holders as well, just surrounding the wireless phone chargers. It's just a lot of matte black, so wouldn't have minded if they made a texturized finish or some kind of design, at least. You can keep it plastic, but just something a little more emotional, something less boring. That's all I'm saying. But now let's get to the infotainment screen, and unfortunately this car I don't think is PDI'd yet, so I'm not going to be able to show you a ton of this, but 14-inch color touchscreen display. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You guys can see your heated steering wheel button is on there. Heated seat buttons is on there. You can adjust the climate control settings. You can also adjust safety information up there as well if you wanted to. But of course, also your radio information. So when it comes to the sound system, 6 speakers does come standard, but there is an optional 9-speaker JBL sound system that goes for $600. That's actually the one that we have with us here today. So what do you guys say? I'm going to try to turn this on. Hopefully it works, and let's test out the clarity of this one. No clue what they're saying, but that was a decent amount of bass. That's a really good sound system, actually, for the CHR. There's nothing wrong with that. Definitely, clarity was 100% on point. Like I said, decent amount of bass. There's actually a JBL subwoofer in the cargo area. I saw that earlier, so that's a plenty good sound system there. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the CHR is when you do put this one in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. If you were looking for that panoramic view monitor there to the left, that comes on the XSE trim level only. And of course, this thing is going to sing to you basically like you're going up into heaven because it's an EV. So that's kind of cool too, I guess, so you don't run anybody over. But that is always going to lead us into safety. And so front side curtain airbags do come standard. Driver and passenger knee airbags up front as well. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Rear child door locks, top pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. That gives you a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane trace assist, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert with steering assist, road sign assist, and proactive drive assist then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts, because this is an EV with over 300 horsepower, this thing is plenty powerful. It's instantaneous acceleration, so I'm always a big fan of that. Makes merging onto the highway super ridiculously easy. Also very competitive range. Didn't used to be that way for Toyota EVs, and now it is, so that's kind of cool. Nice styling as well. I got no issues when it comes to the exterior design, other than the fact that it looks pretty darn similar to the BZ, and why do you need two SUVs that look nearly identical? I don't know. I'd say that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow Younger Toyota on social media stuff. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews, and we will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.